Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. Here's your host, Morgan Colby and Rick Lemon.
Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. I just decided today is the day that I'm feeling super duper excited about football.
You came in here and you just started dancing.
Yeah.
I don't know what was up with that, but I think that's a good thing for the show.
I guess so. Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. It is Thursday, September 26th. Football is on tonight. It's actually a good game.
You know, it's awesome too. I just, we talked about previously in our previous show about trade targets, and number one on the list was Devontae Adams. He's on my fantasy team now.
Stop.
I'm just saying.
Stop.
I'm excited to watch the game tonight. Okay,
He's a little bit excited.
Tiny bit excited.
As always, Rick bragging about his trades. My name's Morgan. I did vulture Ronald Jones from you though.
Yeah, you did.
I did. It feels good when you vulture people off certain guys. Today we break down week 4 of the NFL season, and we discuss matchups from every single game except for the 5 we discussed yesterday. We also give you our starts and sits of the week. Before we get into the news, check out our website, thefantasychampions.com. We got rankings, articles, content, materials, whatever you need to help you win your fantasy championship. Just check out the website.
Yes.
Like us on Twitter, at the FF Champs, Instagram, at the Fantasy Champions, Facebook.com/the Fantasy Champions, where you can like us on Facebook. Subscribe wherever you listen, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, Google Play. Click the bell on YouTube for notifications. Leave a comment on YouTube. Leave a review. Share this podcast with your friends. Let's get to the news, because NFL Week 4 is popping.
He's popping, man.
Adam Schefter reports that the Seahawks are trading Nick Vannett to the Steelers in exchange for a 2020 5th-round pick.
Buy your Will Disley shares?
Yeah, I would buy Will Disley shares all day. This is because Vance McDonald had a shoulder sprain and won't have. They're saying he won't have an extended absence, but he was seen on like Monday or Tuesday in a sling. I think we talked about that on Tuesday's show. Yeah. So they're concerned. This shows me that they're concerned about Vance McDonald.
Right.
Are you interested at all in picking Nick Vannett on the Steelers? Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. All set.
No, thank you.
A 5th-round pick for a running back. I mean, a tight end is a lot.
Yeah, especially if you're going to use him for like 3 weeks and then.
Yep.
Probably never again.
If Will Disley is on your waiver wire, you should probably go pick him up.
Yeah.
Melvin Gordon reported today that his holdout could soon be coming to an end. There is a real excitement here. There was a report yesterday that was confirmed by Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter that he could return to the team facilities tomorrow. That doesn't necessarily mean he's coming back. That just means he could be at the team facilities tomorrow. So, I mean, he can't play this week. The earliest he could play if he comes back tomorrow is
next week, right?
October 6th, yeah. So, obviously don't put him in your starting lineups this week. I'm not even sure about starting him October 6th because I had Zeke, and they paced Zeke in the first game of the season, so he only had 12 points. I think it's going to take Melvin Gordon 2 to 3 weeks in order to get back to full strength before he even does it. They're not even sure he's going to come back yet, so there's a lot of hurdles still to overcome in this whole situation, but I do want to note that how many times did this happen with Le'Veon Bell last year where they said, oh, he's coming back this day, didn't come back, and he said, oh, well, he's coming back this day, didn't come back, and it's like it wasn't just the beat reporters, it was Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport. They never said that. They said he was going to come back in October, didn't come back in October. Then they said he was going to come back after 8 weeks, didn't come back after 8 weeks. And they said he was going to be back by week 12. It is a different situation, but you also have to consider.
If you read what they said, though, it's also different too. They never said Bell was ever coming back at any point.
No, they said that he was considering a comeback after the bye week. That was a full report. That was like he's coming back after the bye week.
There's a difference. There's a big difference there.
I'm just saying, don't get too excited.
What are you trying to do here, bro?
I'm saying that don't get excited about Melvin Gordon. I'm saying this not to you because I know you're a Melvin Gordon owner. I'm a Melvin Gordon owner. I'm saying this to Melvin Gordon owners everywhere to hold. I mean, if you want to sell him now, sell him now. But like, if you're an Austin Eckler owner, don't sell Austin Eckler yet. You're going to be like, oh my God.
Actually, no.
Sell him now. And it's like he's still got 2 weeks of startable.
And even when
time.
Last year, when Melvin Gordon was a top 5 RB,
yeah,
Austin Eckler in PPR leagues was actually still like a low end RB2.
Right.
Like, he was actually still really good.
Right.
So I wouldn't sell Eckler for nothing either.
And the other thing is too is that my big thing is like your window to sell Eckler is gone.
Oh, yeah.
It's done.
Should have been after week 1.
It should have been after week 1. So those are my thoughts on Melvin Gordon. I know you disagree. I don't know if it's you fully disagree with the opinion. It's just or it's the fact that you have Melvin Gordon. You desperately want this to be true. I know.
It's definitely that one.
I drafted both Zeke and Melvin Gordon this year, so I've been through multiple dramas.
I mean, I definitely want him to return, but I do think it's not like...
Oh, he's going to return.
Like with Le'Veon Bell, there was always I was always 50-50 on it.
Yeah, right.
Like I was like, I don't know. With Melvin Gordon, it's 90%.
He's coming back.
Chance that he's coming back.
He's coming back.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of when.
Right.
I think he's seeing Eckler play out very, very well for the Chargers. And I think he's getting nervous that he might lose his job, similar to how Connor lost his job. I mean, Le'Veon Bell lost his job to Connor. And I think he actually wants to be on the Chargers, so I don't think this is working out for him. Devin Singletary, remains sidelined at Wednesday's practice, so that is the 4th practice in a row that Devin Singletary has missed. Keep an eye on that situation. I actually kind of don't want him to play this week against New England because that will not be good for him. T.Y. Hilton is not practicing Wednesday. There was a report that said he is expected to not play this week, and then there was another report. We discussed the report on our show on Tuesday that T.Y. Hilton was not going to return, and then he did not practice today, but there was a report saying that he might be able to play this Sunday, so it's up in the air. I would expect T.Y. Hilton to not play this week. Adjust accordingly. Alshon Jeffrey is expected to play this Thursday night against the Packers. I think we already talked about that game. So if you do have the Nelson Aguilar shares and you want to start him this week, I'm not excited about that anymore. I think Jeffrey is the guy to own. Deshaun Jackson's going to be out of that game as well. Damian Williams remains sidelined at Wednesday's practice with a knee injury. It's starting to get more concerning for Damian Williams.
Yeah.
He's already this season, just this season alone. This is part of the reason why I said stay away from him, is he's had a knee injury, a hamstring injury, and I think an ankle injury.
Wow.
Just this season. So he's kind of dangerous to have on your team at this point.
Him
in the second round.
I mean,
that's crazy.
I hate to be that guy, but yeah, because we've also done that a million times. But
yeah,
still,
some other guys that did not practice today. Chris Godwin had a hip situation. He's, I guess, fine. They just wanted to stick him on day to day and figure out what happened. Then Mark Andrews not practicing with the foot injury again. He was limited last Sunday.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look like it's getting any better, so we'll see what happens. And then Julian Edelman did practice this week. Rib injury, no problem. So that's all the news, unless you have anything else you wanted to mention.
No, I think that's it for now. I'm more just interested to see how Melvin Gordon plays out, to be honest with you. But yeah, we'll just see on that.
Right. Let's move into our Week 4 matchups. This should be a little bit interesting. I mean, let's start with. I don't know.
You are. I feels like you already want to go on a rant on something.
Yeah, no, it's all right. The Panther. Let's start with the Panthers at the Texans Sunday at 1:00. I mean, I guess we'll start with the quarterbacks. Kyle Allen for the Carolina Panthers.
So
Are you starting him this week?
well, so first of all, Deshaun Watson is a must start, so we can get him out of the way. He is like, are you? What?
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing.
Okay, all right.
He's just like, we're not even going to talk about Watson. Do you want?
Well, that's like talking about Mahomes or
Yeah,
Dak
you're
Prescott. And
You're right. I'm not going to argue.
Okay, man. Anyway,
Kyle Allen, is he a guy that you want to start this week?
I think if you're desperate, yes, actually, he could be
Against Houston?
He could be a
I
sneaky
don't
start.
think so. I'm sitting Kyle Allen this week.
I said if you're desperate.
He's like, if you're desperate.
I think
that's the thing, is that there's, unless you're in my freaking 2 quarterback league, you ain't desperate.
Well, I mean, not necessarily.
Yeah.
People who drafted Andrew Luck. I think if you're streaming quarterbacks, there are better guys out there, so I'd probably say typically no. But if you're in a really deep league and you need a quarterback, I would take a flyer on him. He had such a good week last week. And I know Houston's defense is solid, but it's more like their up front is pretty good. J.J. Watt's still good, but their defense isn't the same as it was like last year. It's still solid, but it's not great.
Right.
You can still have a good game against them. So
Right.
I'm really interested to see how he does, though, because if he comes out and has back-to-back very good weeks,
turd game.
or if he has a turd game, then Cam Newton's right back in. But
Right.
if he has 2 good weeks in a row,
I don't know. I mean, obviously, I said this on, like, I think it was on Tuesday's show. I don't know how little, like, if he craps the bed this week, do they rush Newton back?
I don't think they should.
Why did it take me so long to formulate that thought?
They might, though. I don't think they will, but they might.
I don't think they would either. But I really do think they're going to ride Kyle Allen until his death.
Wouldn't
at this
you?
point, yeah. Probably, yeah. And then Deshaun Watson as a start. Does he concern you at all in being a top 3 quarterback anymore, or are you still?
Well, he had 30
gung-ho?
points last week. So.
Yeah. No, I'm saying he had
He did have that one. Yeah,
he had a 12
against Jacksonville.
Against Jacksonville, he doesn't look like he's matchup proof though. That's kind of what my point is. Are you concerned about?
I don't think,
being a top
honestly,
3 quarterback
the only quarterback in the league I think that is fully matchup proof is Patrick
Mahomes.
So,
yeah,
I'm not. I mean, concerned. I guess you could say
He's like,
sure,
sure,
but it's not like I think he'll be top 5.
Right.
So it's not like it's like.
Let's talk about the running backs for this game. We got Carlos Hyde and Duke Johnson on the Texans side, and we got Christian McCaffrey on the Panthers side. Christian McCaffrey is a must-start every week. We're not even going to touch that. Between Carlos Hyde and Duke Johnson, if you had to choose, say you have both, who are you going to start?
Hyde, but I don't want to start either.
Okay. I know you had Duke Johnson, and you drafted him in like the 7th round, and yeah, you're not about that life anymore.
No.
So, if you have the ability to not start either of these guys, I would probably do it. Carolina has been relatively decent against the run.
What if you're in a full PBR league? Does it become harder?
No.
You still go Hyde?
See,
if you had to pick one, full PPR.
If I had to pick one full PPR, probably Johnson, because Hyde doesn't catch.
Okay.
But I think the ability to pass catch as a running back, and considering, so a lot of people are like, oh my God, what if Duke Johnson is the Tariq Cohen or James White of the Texans? The Texans just don't run their offense like that. So that was my problem with that discussion at the beginning. But I thought that he may get 2 to 3 catches a game on the Houston Texans. In a full PPR, that's not super valuable.
No.
So I just think at this point, Duke Johnson, I'm even just considering dropping these 2 guys at this point. I don't see the value.
I wouldn't drop Hyde especially if you're in your standard league, but
if you have to drop them,
it's not.
You might be able to. Wide receivers on the Panthers side, you got DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel, 2 guys that very well could be starters this week. Hopkins, Fuller, Stills on the other side. Stills probably shouldn't be anywhere near your bench. Fuller, I dropped today. Hurt my soul a little bit, but I dropped him.
It was the right move.
I'm not recommending dropping him. He's had 7 targets in 2 straight weeks, so he'll be Fuller at some point. But I just I
feel like there's too many targets in that offense right now.
Right. And I wouldn't start. The only guy I would start against Carolina for wide receivers is Hopkins, and then on the other side, Kyle Allen gives DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel a massive boost.
Yeah, but coming from someone who just said he wouldn't start Kyle Allen, so essentially you think he's not going to have a good week, would you still start DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel?
I don't think he's going to have a good week, but I think that one of the two are going to be good.
Okay, which one?
Probably Curtis Samuel, not because he's on my team, but because at this point in the year he kind of looks like the better route runner, superior route runner to DJ Moore, which I heard a lot about in the preseason, but I'm starting to see it come true. Moore's getting a lot. They're both getting targeted a lot. Like, it's an equal amount.
Yeah.
It's not like you can go wrong with either guy. It's a matter of which one gets the.
I'd probably start Moore.
Which one gets the one touchdown catch? Kyle Allen
DJ Moore has been more productive through the first few weeks of the season. So not by a lot, but
right.
I would just go DJ Moore if I had to pick one.
But I think both get a good value boost. We'll talk about Greg Olsen a little bit later, and then there's no one startable on the other other side. Let's talk about the Chiefs at the Lions. I don't even know. I was trying to find the over-unders for this game, but I didn't open it. I don't think it matters.
It's going to be a lot.
Lions. Mahomes.
Battle of the undefeated teams.
Mahomes on the Chiefs side. Stafford on. Are you serious?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
The Lions are 2-0-1.
Oh, that's right.
They had the tie.
So I guess that's.
They're undefeated. Have they lost?
Yes. No. Well, a tie is a loss to
no,
me.
It's not.
It's not a loss technically.
It's not a loss.
Would you
if it was a loss, it'd be in the loss column.
Season if they didn't lose another game and they had.
Yes.
All right.
Undefeated. Nobody's defeated them.
We got Mahomes on the Chiefs side. Stafford on the Lions side. Mahomes is a must start every week, but on as far as Stafford, I actually like him this week against Kansas City.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going. I mean, he's had a decent season: 831 yards, 6 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He's had some really good games, and then he's had some games that weren't so good. But if you needed the Chiefs, the only concern for me is that there's no concern for me. I would start him against the Chiefs. I was going to say I was trying to remember what part of the Chiefs got better and it's their run defense. So I think, Stafford is a start this week for me, and I think if you need a streaming option, you would go after him. I said that on the Tuesday show.
Yes, yep. It's a good play. I think he's in line for like a 20-point week.
Yeah.
Especially because they'll be playing from behind most likely.
Right.
Sorry, Lions fans, but
rip their souls out. The running backs, LaShawn McCoy, Damian Williams, and Darrell Williams on the Chiefs side, and then we have Carry-On on the Lions side. As far as let's talk about the Chiefs for a second.
Okay.
LaShawn McCoy is dealing with an ankle injury. Damian Williams is dealing with a knee injury. And Darrell Williams is the picture of health and had a relatively efficient game. If LaShawn McCoy is good to go and starts this game, would you start Darrell Williams or would you start LaShawn McCoy? You would start McCoy?
Yes.
Okay. Are you not concerned about... I think this injury for him is something that people are not really discussing too much.
It's not... I agree with you because it's LaShawn McCoy, and anytime he gets injured, it's a big deal. Mm-hmm. But it's not like he had a bad week last week.
Right.
In a half PPR setting, he had 21.5 fantasy points. So that's pretty darn good. I think he would still be the starter of those two if he plays. But there is a chance that he doesn't play and Damian Williams doesn't play.
The Detroit Lions have given up the 7th most fantasy points to running backs so far this year.
I mean, that's...
So I would... I mean, if McCoy's good to go, he's the start.
Right.
But if he's not there, I'm surprised that not more... Like, I looked up the ownership numbers of Darrell Williams. I think it was this morning. And I'm surprised that more people did not pick him up, considering... He had 12 fantasy points, and LaShawn McCoy is like 155 years old. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how they kind of break down the running back situation for Darrell Williams if he comes in. But he's if Darrell Williams, if LaShawn McCoy doesn't play, Darrell Williams is a must start, like in a flex or in an RB2 slot, unless you have insane running backs. Kerryon Johnson against the Kansas City Chiefs. Are you concerned?
Long run, I'm not sure. Against the Chiefs, no, not really. Because you just said they have an improved run defense, which they do slightly actually improved. Technically slightly improve. Yeah. Mark Ingram also torched
instead
them
of being like some of the worst rush defense in the NFL. Now they're like the 9th worst.
Right. Yeah, and like I said, Mark Ingram torched them last week.
Yeah, that kind of weighted the numbers a little bit. Yeah. In the first 2 games, they were a lot better.
And I think Kerryon's going to get like 15
to 20 carries.
Right.
Or touches, I should say.
Yeah, 15 to 20 touches, and
Yep.
if that happens, he'll be fine.
All right. Wide receivers, Kenny Golladay, Marvin Jones on the Lions side, Sammy Watkins, Hardman, and Demarcus Robinson on the Chiefs side. As far as Watkins, Watkins and Hardman are must deploys. I like if you have either one of them, start them on your team. It's the Chiefs offense.
Yep.
Somebody like Hardman, he might only get 2 catches, but those 2 catches might be for
Touchdowns.
150 yards and touchdowns. Yeah. And it's like for Watkins is probably going to be the more steady option in the offense.
Yeah, if you have Watkins, you definitely
Right.
start him.
But if you have Robinson, don't even ask me the question. I'm like,
Wow.
yeah, I don't like, he's just not that guy. And then Kenny Golladay and Marvin Jones. This is interesting. Marvin Jones had 21 fantasy points last week, I believe.
Yeah.
And Kenny Golladay had like 2. So I think this is what's going to happen week to week with these two. Because the week before, Kenny Golladay had 21 points.
Right.
It depends on who they put. To me, I think it depends on who the number 1 corner ends up on for Kansas City.
That is going to be, I think, a deciding factor. But I will want to talk about Kenny Golladay
Kenny G.
a little later.
Oh, all right. All right, we won't bring that up then. But if I had to, we'll talk about.
Go ahead. No, you can say who.
It's all right. Travis Kelce or T.J. Hawkins. When do you think they're going to get the Hawk involved?
I think
again?
he dropped the touchdown last week.
And
Could be a
his
sneaky good game for T.J. Hawkinson this
Really?
week.
You think so?
I think they'll be trailing. It'll be a semi-high scoring game.
Yep.
Matt Stafford, I think, is in line for a big week. So
Okay.
I think there's a chance. Like, if you're going to start Hawkinson, I don't think this would be a terrible week to do it.
I'm not sure I want to do that.
I'm not saying to start him, but you know what I'm saying. Like,
I'm going to say don't ride the Hawk until he shows you to ride him again. He's
Okay.
going to be up and down all year. I don't even see the point in owning him at this point.
I always want to ride the Hawk.
There we go. The 1-2 Cleveland Browns at 1:00 face off against the 2-1 Baltimore Ravens. Big division matchup. The Browns offense has been extremely struggling. Baker Mayfield and Lamar Jackson are the 2 quarterbacks. I think against Cleveland, you kind of have to deploy Lamar. He's getting into that territory of being kind of matchup proof. Cleveland does have a good pass rush, so I could see Lamar Jackson getting a lot of rushing yards this week. We'll see what happens in that context. As far as Baker Mayfield, for me,
Sit.
805, 3 touchdowns, 5 interceptions.
That's terrible.
You got to sit him against, if you even have him on your team.
Yeah. At this point, yeah. I mean, if you do have him on your team, you better not be starting him.
Yeah. I don't know if you had anything to say about Lamar.
You know how I feel about Lamar. I love Lamar. He's a must start.
Running backs, Mark Ingram, Gus Edwards, Nick Chubb. I'm going to say against Cleveland's rush defense, I am not a huge fan of Mark Ingram.
I think you got to start Mark Ingram no matter what.
You got to start Mark Ingram.
You just don't think he's in line for a huge week?
Yeah, I don't think he's in line for it. Well, I've talked about this before. Last week, Mark Ingram had 3 touchdowns.
He's not going to do that again.
Is he going to score a touchdown this week against Cleveland?
I think he can get a touchdown,
Okay.
yeah, sure. And he's not going to get 3.
I don't think
he's going to get 2 either.
Unfortunately for me, my concerns with Mark Ingram are this. This is why I traded him last week before he had 33. My concerns with Mark Ingram are this. It's the fact that he's very much in the same light as Derrick Henry, where he's going to get 15 to 20 touches. He's going to get 70, 80, 90 yards a game. And his upside as far as RB2, high-end RB2, low-end RB1, like that upside is going to be all touchdown dependent.
Yep.
He's a touchdown-dependent running back. So if he goes up against Cleveland and Baltimore's, I don't see them having trouble getting into the red zone and giving Mark Ingram opportunities. But say Gus Edwards vultures the opportunities from Mark Ingram, because we never know what's going to happen with the RBBC in Baltimore. Mark Ingram could actually have a tougher day than a lot of us expect him to, because this would seem like start him. I mean, the first 6 games of the season for Mark Ingram, he's facing some of the worst rush defenses in the NFL. This is one of the tougher ones. The Cleveland Browns give up, it's middle of the pack, the 18th most fantasy points to running backs. So I would start Mark Ingram. You kind of have to at this
start
point.
Ingram,
Keep an eye on him. Don't say I didn't warn you. Gus Edwards, no. We got Marquise Brown, Odell Beckham, and Jarvis Landry, I would say, as options this week.
I think the only one you start there is Odell. I don't even start Hollywood Brown.
You don't like Hollywood Brown this week?
No, I don't.
Okay.
He didn't have a great week last week at all.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's going up against Cleveland this week.
Hitting the rookie wall already, huh?
Yeah. Cleveland does have some good corners, so I think this is going to be kind of a low-scoring game anyway.
Yep.
So I probably
You want me to
am
pull up
staying
the
away from
over-under?
Sure.
It's 46.5.
To see, that's higher than I thought it would be. I'd probably bet the under, but
Okay. Patriots at Bills, 1 o'clock.
another battle of the undefeated teams.
3-0. Both teams are 3-0. Quarterbacks, Tom Brady, Josh Allen. I'll talk about Josh Allen a little later, so we'll pass over him. But Tom Brady, 911 yards and 7 touchdowns in his 42nd year of life.
That's pretty darn good.
Freaking
man.
A, Tom Brady. You ravaged you frustrate me now, and I'm a Patriots fan. How could you do this to my opinions of you before the season started? I've also noticed that Tom Brady progressively has slowly sloped down in fantasy production.
For the first 3 weeks.
Yeah, through the first 3 weeks of the year. So I do not expect him to
I'm not starting Brady.
I'm not starting Brady against Buffalo either. There's going to be temptation.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
I'm not starting either quarterback. I'm not starting Josh Allen either.
Yeah, I agree.
And I love Josh Allen. You guys know how I feel about Josh Allen, but New England's defense is too good.
Right. It's insane. I don't know if I start anyone on the Bills.
I was just going to say, do you start anyone? Because I don't.
Like Frank,
if Singletary's
if Singletary's out,
Frank Gore could be a flex, but that's it.
I didn't even want to start Frank Gore.
I don't either. But if you have to, Frank Gore.
Here's the thing: is that if he plays in this game as the full running back again, tell me how many red zone chances they're going to have.
I think the Bills will actually.
A touchdown
The
saved
Bills are
his
going to put up
day
the
last
best
week.
fight out of any team the
yeah.
Patriots have played this year.
I just think it's going. I think a lot of people are going to be like, "Oh, 3-0 against 3-0." This is going to be a bloodbath.
You think so?
Yeah, I think Tom Brady's going to rip the soul out of the Buffalo Bills.
I think the Bills are going to make it a game.
Or maybe not Tom Brady, but the entire Patriots
I think
team.
it's going to be a close game. Patriots are going to win.
Okay, so we've agreed that no one's startable.
Yeah, I still wouldn't start
on the Bills. Sony Michel?
No.
Okay, yeah, I would say no against Buffalo too. If you have him in your
Sony's
lineup,
a no, pretty much.
I would pull him out. Julian Edelman, I would start him this week despite the rib situation. Even though it's against Buffalo, Julian Edelman is going to get targeted 10 plus times in the game. He's a must start.
In standard, is he a must start in standard? Probably not.
Yeah, I don't know.
PPR half PPR.
I think he'll get 10 points regardless.
What
of
about
what happens.
Josh Gordon?
No on Josh Gordon.
Okay, I would say
against any other team, with the exception of Baltimore, Buffalo, and Jacksonville, I'd probably start him. But
okay.
Against Buffalo, their pass defense is pretty good. Let's talk about the Buccaneers at the Rams. That's at Sunday, first 4:00 game of the week. This should be interesting. Quarterbacks: Jameis Winston, Jared Goff. Goff is at home.
You know what that means?
That means he's a start.
Start.
Get him in your starting lineup. I think obviously Goff at home. The Rams offense has struggled.
Yeah.
And Jared Goff has had some good fantasy outings. He's had some bad fantasy outings. He's sticking true to that streamable at home. Don't play him on the road box that he goes in, I guess. And then as far as Jameis Winston is concerned, after his terrible three interception, I was going to say 3 touchdown. After his terrible 3 interception game week 1, he's been better.
He's been much better. Yeah.
So against the Los Angeles Rams defense, would you consider starting Winston, or is he a guy that you're taking out of lineups?
I'll talk about that later.
Okay, screw. I don't like Peyton Barber. I think he's horribly inefficient. I would keep an eye on Barber and Jones in this game.
Yeah.
Jones was and has been
the better of the two running backs.
The better of the two running backs, and at some point,
except week 2 when Peyton Barber got 20+ carries.
I literally the first game I watched on NFL Game Pass. This is not an advertisement. But I watched week 1 and week 3 on Game Pass of just the snaps for Barber and just the snaps for Ronald Jones. And Jones is just far more efficient running back.
Yeah,
so watch that situation. He's not startable this week. Barber's not startable this week, but keep an eye on that. As far as the other side, Gurley.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Even though
Is it obviously? Is it
it's
that
not,
obvious?
It's not anymore. But he's this week against Tampa. I think it's
Comeback game.
yeah. He's a good.
He's gonna
good
be.
play
He's
this
gonna
week.
kill people all season.
Yeah, he is.
People are gonna be like, "Should I drop him?" No, you idiots. Don't do that.
He's gonna get a good week this week.
Yeah.
I think.
And Malcolm Brown shouldn't even be on your team really anymore. Since week 1, he's kind of dropped
nothing.
off, and yeah. So Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are the wide receivers for the Bucks. Cooper Kupp and Brandon Cooks and Robert Woods. And let's do the dartboard for the Rams first.
Well, it's been Cooper Kupp pretty much all season, so I'm just gonna keep riding Kupp.
I'll take Kupp too. I'll take Kupp. Brandon Cooks has been decent in the first 2 games.
Yeah.
Robert Woods has been busting, but only because if you look at the numbers right next to his name, he's same amount of receptions, this is what you would expect between the two of them. 13 receptions for Brandon Cooks, 225 yards. 13 receptions for Robert Woods, 143 yards. That's the type of receivers that they are. That's not gonna Cooks is a vertical receiver.
Right.
Woods is not. The difference between the two is the touchdown
And the yards.
Yeah. So I think at this point,
I mean, we knew.
Don't panic on Robert Woods. He'll get his touchdowns. It'll come. But
We did say though, there's gonna be 2 good receivers in that offense, and one of them's gonna have to take a back seat.
Yeah, one of them's going to take the L.
It might be Robert Woods.
Cooper Kupp, though, I would take in this game 100%.
Oh yeah.
And then on the other side, Evans.
Had himself a week.
Just when I thought, I literally told myself in my head, if there's another 3-point game for Mike Evans and Chris Godwin gets 20 points, I'm ripping my pants off and I'm just saying he's better than Mike Evans this year.
Wow.
That didn't happen.
No.
I actually think Mike Evans is going to not lay an egg this week, but I think he will probably only get 10 to 12 fantasy points.
Okay.
Godwin would probably be more in line for the 15 to 20, just because of the fact that in that last game, Godwin played well in the first 2 games of the season. So what did the team that played? Who had played the Buccaneers last week? I forgot.
It was the Giants.
The Giants moved their number 1 corner. Not that he was great anyway, but over to Chris Godwin.
Yeah.
And Godwin got phased out by the dominance of Mike Evans. I think they just fed it to Mike Evans early, and then it went in that direction the entire game. In this game, I think that number 1 corner probably is going to go on.
So you think Godwin's going to have a better week than
I think
Evans?
Godwin is going to have a better week than Evans.
I actually get your line of thinking because the type of game it is too.
Yeah.
Where, as you said, Evans is kind of a... You've said this in the past, how Evans is kind of used as a vertical threat in that offense, the outside receiver.
Right.
I don't feel like it's a game where they might use that a lot, but I think Godwin's going to be more of a security blanket.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm too high on either of those guys for this week. I think they're both starts, though.
Howard, Everett, are you dropping Howard?
I've been saying every day the last week that I'm dropping Howard, but he's still on my bench. So
Yeah.
I guess not, but I want to.
I told somebody to drop drop Howard this week. Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably time.
Seahawks at Cardinals Sunday at 4:00. Once again, the over/under for that game is 46. Right now, it's at 48. I just read the open. Sorry. So the scoring in that game it sounds like it's going to be pretty high scoring,
which is interesting.
Yeah, which is interesting. Let's start with the quarterbacks.
Okay.
Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray.
Russell Wilson is a start, and Kyler Murray, who, hasn't had a bad season actually overall, but I'm not starting him this week.
No, he's the only thing that's kind of he's going to throw for 4,000 yards.
I know. It's pretty impressive, actually.
I think the cap for him is going to be touchdowns, probably.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson's been balling out this year.
He has.
It's more specifically last game. I think against Arizona, he's must start.
Yep.
Chris Carson, Rashad Penny.
That's going to be very interesting to watch this week.
Yeah, dude. I'm like, if Chris Carson fumbles it again, Rashad Penny is going to. It's Penny time. I'm pissed because I had him on my team for 5 minutes this year.
I did too. I drafted him.
Yeah, Penny is what is he? He's a first round pick, right? I always get the voice.
He was, I think, 30th overall, yes.
So Penny has been expected to be that guy. He's been efficient when he's been in games. Chris Carson has been good.
Yeah, Chris Carson's been no joke when he's out there.
He's pretty good, but the problem for him has been the last 2 games he hasn't put up great performances, and Chris Carson also fumbled twice. He's fumbled 3 times in 2 weeks. So he's having a very, very tough start to the season. And for an NFL team, it's hard for you, taking fantasy completely out of it, because I don't care if a guy fumbles. Like, if a guy fumbles, I lose 2 points. It doesn't matter. For an NFL team, if a guy fumbles, you lose a whole possession.
Right.
And if a guy fumbles twice in one game, you lose 2 whole possessions. So it's like, that's a lot. Like, they're saying that the 2 fumbles by Chris Carson cost them the game last week against New Orleans.
Ugh.
And so I think
that is a tough pill to swallow.
It is a tough pill to swallow, but they're riding with Carson. That's what Pete Carroll said, so we'll see what happens there. Are you starting him against Arizona?
Yes.
Okay, I would start him too, and if you get burned, I'm sorry. David Johnson is a must start. Let's talk about the receivers. Arizona has Larry Fitzgerald, Christian Kirk, and the Seahawks have Tyler Lockett. I'll throw DK Metcalf in there. Are you looking at Metcalf?
No.
David Moore is also back this week.
I still wouldn't do it. The only guy I'm probably starting is Lockett.
Okay.
Arizona's side is interesting. I do like Christian Kirk. I think he's been really solid. If he's
basically got the same production yards.
If he's had touchdowns, we'd be talking about him as like a wide receiver too. But
choose one for this game. If you have both, and you have to pick.
It's got to be Fitzgerald right now.
Yeah, you probably have to take Fitzgerald.
But I probably am not starting either.
Kirk is starting to shift into that number 1 role, though.
He is,
which is what I anticipated when the season started. And then as far as tight ends, I don't think there's Will Dissly.
Yeah. Hey,
I'll talk about him later. Love you, Dissly.
Okay.
Let's talk about Vikings at Bears. Sunday at 4 p.m. Finally,
at Bears.
Dalvin Cook is going to be tested.
Yeah.
He's going to be tested by
57 carries this year, dude. That's ridiculous.
Dude, he's crazy. It's crazy. Let's start with the quarterbacks. Kirk Cousins, Mitch Trubisky. Trubisky at this point,
they're both sits.
The Bears, they're both sits. So you shouldn't even have Kirk Cousins on your team.
Or Trubisky.
If you shouldn't have Trubisky on your team, but even if you do have Trubisky, do not start him. Do not, for the love of God, start Trubisky.
Yeah, do not start either of these guys.
Against Minnesota. This is going to be a battle of defenses.
Do not start.
David Montgomery against Minnesota's defense.
I don't like that matchup.
Yeah, I don't like it either. I would probably not start David Montgomery if you had even thought about starting him. I told you to bench him last week, just because he's not there yet. Wait till he's there. there's no need to rush him into it.
If you look at the total carries numbers,
it's starting to shift over. It's just how they utilize him. They're giving him such boring play calls. They're giving him it's bad. So the play calling from that, and the stupid part is every time these Bears win, Matt Nagy thinks he's got the whole thing. He's got the earth and the wind figured out. And he's like, oh, this is it. I'm the new Bill Belichick. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's such a clown. And it's like, you're not using your running backs properly. The fact that Cordero Patterson went in there and had more rushes than Mike Davis. Now, I don't like Mike Davis. You know I don't like Mike Davis. But Mike Davis is a better running back than
Cordell Patterson.
Yes,
yeah.
So
that is kind of, what are you doing?
They have to get stuff figured out offensively before you can even consider Trubisky.
Is there anyone in this whole game that you start other than Dalvin Cook? And Adam Thielen probably.
Thielen is a start. Diggs should not be in your starting lineup. No. If you're continuing
do you drop him?
Hope. Not Diggs. No, not yet. Diggs has got talent. He's having a tough stretch of games, but that's a little bit.
He's getting to that point though.
No, I don't think he's getting to that
He gets
point.
Another week where he gets 3 points. He hasn't had more than 7 points all year.
Drop Diggs,
and that one game he had 1 touchdown.
Here's the thing. This week he'll probably crap the bed. But if he friggin' comes out in another game, there's that one game that you just referred to. There was a chance that if he had caught more of the passes that he had gotten, and Kirk Cousins was just completely missing him in that game. There was a touchdown catch that was called back because of holding, which we know the first 3 weeks of the season have been awful with that. But he would have had 2 touchdowns and 120 yards in that game, which is like a Stefan Diggs blow-up game.
Am I looking at a correct stat here?
Mm-hmm. For what?
Look who leads the Vikings in receptions.
That can't be right.
That's not right. Is it?
I'll pull it up. That doesn't seem right at all. Pull this up. That's a lot.
You want to tell the audience what we're looking at?
So we are on a particular website. We won't reference this, but they are saying that Laquan Treadwell has 35 receptions, 302 yards, and a touchdown. I don't believe that for a second. I think it's a glitch. I'm 100%. It's a glitch.
that can't be right because Kirk Cousins has 300 yards passing or 500 yards passing.
No, that's right.
That's right?
Yeah.
He has 32 catches at 302 yards?
No, I'm talking about Kirk Cousins. You say 500 yards passing.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, right.
That's not wrong. Come on, bro.
That's what I'm saying. Does Treadwell actually have...
No, those are metrics from 2018.
Oh, those was total last year.
Those were his totals last year.
That makes more sense.
All right. Whatever. I wouldn't start Montgomery, Allen Robinson, Taylor Gabriel, Trey Burton, Rudolph.
If there's anyone on the Bears you're starting, is it... Who do you start if you have to pick one?
If I had to start one,
yeah,
Allen Robinson probably.
Okay.
Probably. Let's move on to the next game. Jaguars at Broncos. Freaking... I hope that Leonard Fournette finally has a good game. I'm so tired of it. Gardner Minshew is a guy that you shouldn't have wasted all your waiver budget on, but if you did, don't start him.
No, don't.
He has 692 yards, 5 touchdowns, 1 interception.
Not bad.
He's been pretty good in the start of the season so far. I think as he progresses during the season, he might become a decent streaming option, but I don't know why people are going out. Like the hype surrounding Gardner Minshew and the mysterious mustache and everything about Gardner Minshew is attractive as a person, but let's not with Gardner Minshew in fantasy, please. For not yet.
Joe Flacco, is he an option?
No. Leonard Fournette, is he a start against Denver Broncos?
I don't know.
Yeah, I would start him.
Honestly,
I would start him.
I think
don't listen to this guy.
Okay, all right, listen. You have to start him, but he's not. I don't think he's gonna do great.
No, he's not gonna do fantastic. He's gonna give you the 10 to 12 points that you expected, and if he scores a touchdown, you'll be happy. But I don't know how much opportunity they're gonna get in that. And then on the other side, you got the timeshare. Phillip Lindsay, Royce Freeman. I am gonna tell everyone right now: do not start Phillip Lindsay. I know. He had a 27-point week. I know. I get it. You want it. You want to start him. Don't start Phillip Lindsay.
I'll talk about this later.
Or Royce Freeman. I'll throw Royce Freeman in that. You got Chark. Chark's your guy.
Oh, DJ Chark, baby.
Do you see these statistics right now, though? 15 receptions, Chark. 11 receptions, Westbrook. 12 receptions, Conley. He's spreading it around. Even O'Shaughnessy.
Chark is like end,
10 receptions.
The thing with Chark though that pushes him over the edge, he's not only the vertical threat, but he's also like the big receiver. Yep. So he's gonna get used in the red zone, which shows with the 3 touchdowns. I don't think that will necessarily change, but I mean obviously don't start Chark. Relax. But Westbrook from a Chark lover, but don't.
D.D. Westbrook has been extremely disappointing this year.
Yeah. You think that would have been different with Nick Foles?
Yes. I do. I think that the connection was there.
I mean, the whole thing with D.D. Westbrook, though, was... Well, that was true. There was a connection, but it was also... He can be the number one receiver in that offense. But if Chark is the number one receiver...
Even Chris Conley, 12 receptions, 200 yards, 1 touchdown.
Right. One of the whole reasons people were drafting Westbrook was the hope that he could be the number one receiver in an offense. But it doesn't even look like that's the case. So
Right. I'm going to say... No one's startable. I would wait on Chark one more week.
Oh, you mean? I thought you were talking about the whole game.
For wide receivers, yeah. No,
yeah, I would. Chark. He's got a very tough matchup. If he gets 15 points against Denver, he's at that point. Yeah, you got to really start considering him.
Sanders and Cortland Sutton, both guys have been relatively decent this year. Emmanuel Sanders had one really big game. I think he scored both his touchdowns in that one game, right? Don't quote me on that. But Sanders has been up and down. That's going to be Sanders all year. He's going to have good games. He's going to have bad games. He's not worth it to me. He's worth it to keep on your team, but he's not worth it to me. Like if you have him on your team and he has one of those big games, you can sell him.
Right.
Outside of that, he's just not valuable.
No, I'm not starting either of those guys. Cortland Sutton's very interesting, though, because if the Broncos are having a better year...
threat, and he's not like... He's not getting any touchdowns.
No, but that is weird. But if he was getting touchdowns, we'd be talking about him.
Yeah, if he got the 2 touchdowns for Sanders,
secretly pretty good
decent start.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next matchup. Cowboys.
You don't want to talk about Noah Fant and the tight end battle?
Stop. Jared O'Shaughnessy. Okay. Cowboys at Saints, Sunday night football.
Yes.
I am relatively excited about this game because I have Dak and Zeke.
Well, what a shock.
I got my
You're
Dak.
excited for every Cowboys game.
I got the Dak. Literally, I would be the most hated person in the world if I was a Cowboys fan and a Patriots fan at the same time. The Dak attack stacked with Ezekiel Elliott on my team is beastly. Let's talk about Dak Prescott and Teddy Bridgewater. Bridgewater in his first start, 342 yards, 2 touchdowns, a decent fantasy outing going up against the very good Dallas Cowboys defense. Are you willing to start Teddy Bridgewater?
No. I actually don't hate Teddy Bridgewater.
I know you brought it up earlier this week about playing Teddy Bridgewater this week, but
no, I think there are better options. I don't mind Teddy Bridgewater though for these next few weeks while Breeze is out, like I was saying, but I want to see it one more time. He got 18 fantasy points this past week, which isn't bad. That. In Seattle, it actually really isn't bad, but Dallas is no joke of a defense either. So I probably would not start him.
They're at home, right?
They are at home.
The
Saints
the Cowboys. Yeah, I got you. And Dak Prescott, he's a must deploy at this point. Against New Orleans.
I don't expect it.
If you expect this game, I want to check the over-under because if this game is supposed to be Dallas and New Orleans right now is at 47.5. So there's going to be points to score in this game. And I would say that Dak Prescott is going to have to not keep himself in the game, but this is not going to be the Miami Dolphins. So he's going to have to throw for 300 yards, 3 touchdowns again. And he also has rushing upside, but I'm not trying to sell anyone on Dak Prescott. Running backs, Ezekiel Elliott, Alvin Kamara. Those guys are must deploys. What about Tony Pollard? Pollard has been relatively decent in the attempts that he has gotten.
Yeah.
They seem to be giving him snaps later in games. They're trying to get him involved in some ways. Is he becoming a RB3 low-end flex option at this point?
Not yet, but
I got you.
He should be owned. Very shocked. He should be owned, and I'm shocked that he's gotten 30 carries this year.
I think most of that was because of the increase. Zeke will get back to his full workload, like the normal Zeke workload this week against New Orleans, so he's going to be a very good play. And then Kamara's Kamara. Michael Thomas on the Saints side, obviously a must start. He hasn't seemed to miss a beat in the separation between Drew Brees and Teddy Bridgewater, so I'm not too concerned there. And then Amari Cooper has been dealing with a ankle/foot injury the last couple weeks. I would keep an eye on that situation. He seems like he's going to be what it sounds like it is. It's trending towards questionable, but the Cowboys say they're not concerned about it. And then Devin Smith. He actually didn't have a bad week last week. Let's move on to our final game. Bengals at Steelers. What? Why? Monday Night Football, why you do this?
Yeah, the expectation was...
They're like, this is going to be the game. Okay.
Hey, there's still teams are some fantasy
This is the battle of the undefeated.
You know what's funny? I think this will actually be like...
a good fantasy game.
Yeah, because
it's going to be a good fantasy game.
People have been down on Mixon all year. I think he could have a relatively good game.
Yeah.
Maybe like around 15 points.
Mm-hmm.
I think Tyler Boyd is going to have a good game.
Oh, Boyd.
Tyler Boyd has 24 catches this year. That's 0 touchdowns, though.
Yeah.
John, do you think John Ross could have a good game?
No.
Sorry, I'm going by team and not position, but I'm a little getting ahead of myself.
Yeah. Sorry. Did you say anything about Mixon? I missed that.
Yeah, I think he could get 15 points. So.
Oh, all right. Yeah, there you
solid. Go. Obviously, Mason Rudolph and Andy Dalton aren't starts.
Joe Mixon against Pittsburgh has been given up the 3rd most fantasy points to running back. So this is a good matchup for Mixon. Like you said, Tyler Boyd, I totally agree with that. Mason Rudolph is a non-starter this week. Obviously, he shouldn't even be owned. People picked him up, and I'm like, why? Why did you do that? I think towards the end in the 4th quarter, he was a little bit better offensively. Yeah. I think it's just going to take the first game back that Mason Rudolph.
I mean, he didn't look like he was not a good. Like he didn't look terrible. He just didn't look great.
The first game back was against one of the best pass defenses in the NFL. So
this is a game against Cincinnati where he needs to look good.
Yeah, he should have a decent.
He should have a good game. Yes.
And then James Conner should have a good game. Juju should be decent,
if you're
too.
panicking on those guys, you probably should be. But this week, I think they'll have good weeks. Like, I think Juju will be fine, and I actually think James Conner will be good.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. That'll do it for our matchup breakdowns. Let's move into our starts and sits of the week relatively quickly.
Okay.
We've already gone over time because why not?
That's just what we do, man.
We'll go through our starts and our sits from each position. So I'll start with my start at quarterback and my sit at quarterback. My start at quarterback is Russell Wilson at Arizona. Arizona hasn't had the best pass defense in the NFL right now. So I would say this is week 4, before week 5. Who's the corner that's coming back? Patrick Peterson? Is that right?
Yes, I don't think does he come back in week 5?
I don't know.
Was it only 4 games? I thought it was longer.
Might be 6 games. Don't remember.
Yeah.
But anyway, Russell Wilson had a beast mode game last week. I can expect 20 to 25 points from him this week. So if you have him, you can start him confidently. And then I'm benching Josh Allen. I'm gonna say sit Josh Allen.
My guy.
I love Josh Allen, but he's facing the New England Patriots defense.
Ooh.
The New England Patriots defense in 3 games has given up 1 touchdown. Actually, if you go back all the way to the Super Bowl, they haven't given up a touchdown in 4 games.
Yeah.
So the defense has been playing. This is like, I've been a Patriots fan and watching the Patriots since the inception of the Super Bowl, the first one, and this is the best New England Patriots defense I've seen. Like, they are that good. So
I thought you said the first one, like the first Super Bowl ever.
No, yeah.
And I was like, wow, you're pretty old, dude.
He's like, I'm pretty old. So I'm gonna say this is the best football they're playing. Josh Allen is not going to be able to get anything done. He's a terrible passer against good defenses. The only thing he's going to be able to do is probably run around, but Bill Belichick brought in new quarterback Cody Kessler, who's an athletic running quarterback, to help them figure out how to stop Josh Allen.
Classic Bell. I have Aaron Rodgers as my start of the week.
Oh, I disagree with that.
Here's why.
That's such an ugly matchup, bro.
No, it's not.
Oh, boy.
It's not.
He's like, it's not.
Let's look at.
I want you to reconsider this as we're having.
No.
You know, you're right. Eighth. They've given up the eighth most fantasy points to
quarterbacks. Aaron Rodgers in his first 3 weeks. Everybody's panicking, including us. But what have I been saying each single week? I said, don't start Rodgers. Don't start Rodgers. Don't start Rodgers. He played against the Vikings.
You probably shouldn't start Rodgers against Dallas next week either. But
yeah, you're right. I probably wouldn't. But at this point in his career, he is matchup dependent.
Yeah.
He played the Bears, Vikings, and Broncos. Those are 3 of the best defenses in the league.
Yeah.
This week he's going up against Philly, who struggles against the pass. He's at home. I think Rodgers hasn't been a QB1 yet all year. I think this is the week he gets around 20 to 25 fantasy points.
All right.
This is the week you see Aaron Rodgers. My sit for a quarterback is Jameis the famous Winston, who's had 2 good weeks.
Jameis.
But he's playing against the Rams in LA, which is not a good matchup. The Rams have totally toasted quarterbacks this season. I think this is going to be one of those games where Winston just doesn't do that well.
Okay.
I think in long run, Winston will be good. This is just a tough week for the whole Buccaneers offense, honestly.
My running back start of the week is James Conner against Cincinnati. You have been fretting. You've been worried. You've been panicking on James Conner. And you should probably sell James Conner after this week. Cincinnati, he's slowly been increasing in his snap share and his carry.
Carries? Touches?
Yeah, the amount of touches that he's getting have been slowly increasing, and the opportunity for him has been slowly increasing. He's getting back to that full workload. Don't know why he didn't start the season with it, but he's getting back to that. James Conner against Cincinnati is a wicked easy matchup for him.
Yeah.
So I would say James Conner is a start this week, and you can expect a good game. It's going to be tempting to not start James Conner because of how bad he has been, but I would start James Conner against Cincinnati. I would sit Devonta Freeman against Tennessee. Tennessee has had a very, very good pass rush. They've had a very good rush defense. Thank you. So far this year. So I'm going to say sit him just because, what has he done for you this year? He's gotten less than 5 points in 2 games, and then he got 11 fantasy points last week, which is yay! He got finally 11 fantasy points. I think he's going to be a bust this week against Tennessee, and I think a lot of people are going to start him, and they shouldn't be. Don't start Devonta Freeman.
All right, my start of the week is actually Wayne Gallman. Now, I'm not huge on this train, right? I think people are overreacting to this, and oh, Barkley's hurt, he's going to just take over. I don't know if that's the case. I think they might even sign another running back. It might even be Jay Ajayi. But for this week, I think he's going to be good because he's playing Washington. They haven't signed anyone as of right now, and he's going to get looks. I think the Giants will win that game. The Giants will probably control the ball, which means they'll probably run it a lot in the second half.
Right.
So I think he could actually be a good start if you're on the fence about a running back or an RB2 or a flex. And then I think honorable mention, I'll just say Joe Mixon real quick because I wanted to put him in there.
Okay. My start of the week at wide receiver is Tyler Boyd at Pittsburgh.
Ooh, okay.
Now this is a little bit of a different pick. You said start him.
Right.
The reason why I'm putting him as a start of the week at wide receiver for me is because Pittsburgh has given up. So there's this one slot corner that has been getting burned by slot receivers all season. Don't remember what his name is, but he's been getting murdered by slot receivers. Tyler Boyd is facing that slot corner in the slot because that's where Tyler Boyd gets utilized.
Right.
So Tyler Boyd should be in line for a very good week this week. And then my sit of the week at wide receiver is Josh Gordon at Buffalo.
Okay.
I think that Julian Edelman is the only good start for wide receiver for the New England Patriots in this game. You're going to want to start Josh Gordon. I'm probably going to get a million questions on Twitter about starting Josh Gordon. I don't want to hear it. Josh Gordon is a non-starter. Not this week.
For me, my start of the week is Kenny Golladay, actually.
Kenny G.
He's coming off a bad week.
Yeah,
people are panicking.
Goes good week, bad week.
Right.
Good week, bad week.
I think this week against Kansas City, they're going to throw the ball a lot. I think Matt Stafford's in line for a big game. Like you said, it's a good week, bad week type thing. Marvin Jones went off last week. So I think this week the guy to look out for in the Lions receiving game is going to be Kenny Golladay.
Okay.
I think he's going to have a big week. And my sit is actually my guy, my favorite man.
Okay.
DJ Chark.
Oh, boy.
I know
him. You didn't want to do it.
I love that dude. I didn't want to do it. He's on my fantasy team. But I'm not starting him against the Denver Broncos. That defense is too good. This is going to be the crappy of crappy games. Might be 10-6, the final score.
Right.
I don't think the Jaguars are going to do a lot in the passing game this week.
Right.
Or even on offense. So Chark to me is a guy that is very matchup dependent right now.
Right.
Until he proves otherwise, because it's only been 3 weeks. So I wouldn't get so sweaty about Chark despite his good start.
Yep.
I'm not going to start him this week.
All right, let's do tight ends in less than a minute.
Okay, we can do that.
Tight ends, Austin Hooper versus Tennessee. If there's one thing Tennessee has not done well, it's for some reason stop tight ends. So far this year, the Tennessee Titans have been given up the sixth most fantasy points to tight ends.
That's interesting.
A very interesting stat, but I'm just going to ride it. I'm going to say, let's start Hooper, see what happens.
Yeah, all right. Hoop, there it is.
Yeah, Hoop, there it is. Let's see what happens. And then Greg Olsen against Houston. Houston's been good against tight ends so far this year, so I would just say sit Greg Olsen. I know he had a really great week, but when does that stuff repeat itself?
You know, it's funny. We don't go over each other's notes when we do this.
Yep.
I also had Greg Olsen as my sit of the week.
There you go. So we don't even talk
that's
about
a
sit.
consensus.
Consensus sit.
Fantasy champions consensus.
Yep.
And then my start was Mark Andrews. I think he's going to have a bounce back week.
Awesome. That'll do it.
That's it.
Those are our starts and sits for week 4. Week 4 is already over
Holy
for our
cow.
content. For our content.
That's a lot, bro.
It is a lot. Don't forget to check out our website at thefantasychampions.com. All the stuff I mentioned earlier, you can get it there. Don't forget to like us on Twitter and Instagram. You can leave comments, do all that stuff. Ask questions. Slide into our DMs if you feel necessarily that you have a question. Be sure to do that. See you on Tuesday, Fantasy Champs.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Champions Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes and YouTube and follow us on Twitter at TheFFChamps.